warning. The following podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Remember, the first rule of gambling responsibly is to bet with your head and not over it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cousin Vito's Casino Podcast proudly presents your guide to enjoying gambling. And now, direct from the bar, your cousin and mine, Cousin Vito!
Wow! Welcome, everybody, to Cousin Vito's Casino Podcast, your guide to enjoying gambling. I'm your host, Cousin Vito, and together, we're going to make luck happen at the casino. Thank you for checking out another 2020 episode, few and far between. It's almost like the episodes are going extinct here, but I got a very special show for you and a very special guest today, one of my New England casino gurus, Robin from Anytime Gambling. Robin, thank you for coming out tonight.
Hey, thank you very much. It's great to be back on your podcast. I mean, this is the place where it's happening. So thanks for asking me back.
Oh, it is great to have you here, Robin. And boy, what a year it's been, 2020. Oh, Maron. I have to have less hair. I haven't checked. I don't even want to see. I got to have less hair growing here because it's been a stressful year. But, it's getting towards the holiday season. We've been through a lot this year. So, I'm starting to feel a little thankful. And I've been getting myself back to the casino a little bit. How about you?
A little bit. You got to be careful. And we've been very careful to just be sure that we're following the rules and keeping ourselves healthy. But, boy, the few times that I got back, it was like magic, man. It was so great to be back at the casino.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And one thing about now is it's not only going and not losing money. You got to try and be careful. You got to be cautious. We've gambled together. I'm like, it's like wolves running wild at the casino floor. So I've had to kind of change my casino strategy too because you got the mask on. I can't do all my stuff with the mask on.
That's right. And besides that, I'm getting used now to the plexiglass city that you are surrounded by, like when I play Pai Gow or stuff like that. It's just not necessarily bad, but it's different. And it's the new normal for a while. That's for sure.
And I'm actually excited to get into this because we got, we got a fun show tonight. I have a Foxwoods trip report. I went up there. I said, you know what? I got to do it. We got to brave the casino here. I went up. I stayed the night. I brought the wife. I brought the mom. I brought the baby. We brought the whole family up there because, you figure, might as well gamble. I'm a gambler. We might as well go for a gamble. So we're going to get into that, how I felt safety-wise, how the gambling went. So hopefully, people are a little bit interested in how Foxwoods is doing. But also, Robin, I saw an article. It's an older article, but you reposted it online, and it's the 15 casino do's and don'ts for the recreational gambler. And, we've gone over this stuff before over the years, but I'm a little rusty here. I haven't been up there, and I kind of want to make sure that I'm not making any novice mistakes because, I'm like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed now on the casino floor, all the dinging and all the slot machines. I mean, it's a little bit more spacious with all half the slot machines turned off, actually.
Well, that's just it. I updated this for precisely the same reason. And so many people were, excited to finally get back. That there are a lot of, with the excitement, you might just, play a little bit more than you should have, or not remember the rules. Like when I was playing Pai Gow and I pulled the cards from under the plexiglass so that the eye in the sky couldn't see it, and I heard about that. So there were all things that you just have to be reminded of that makes the experience a little bit better. Meanwhile, you're still thinking about the COVID, and you're thinking about is my mask and all that stuff. So there's a lot going on now that we have to, that we have to remind ourselves of.
And I can already see I'm skimming the article again, and oh boy, we'll do my trip report first because I don't want to alter my trip report based on what I learned in the article here. I kind of went back and let it all hang out.
Well, that sounds good to me.
And it feels like a special occasion. I don't know. We've all had a long year. I got a little bit of the Macallan 12 here. I'm just going to pop it open. I'm only going to have one tonight, because at the casino, what do? You got to drink it with the straw. I got some good casino mass stories. Well, actually, we'll dive into it before I get into the trip report. One thing I had trouble with is my beverage consumption with the mask. I actually got a little whack on the wrist when I was drinking a coffee because they let you pull the mask down the sip, so you go between the sips. But, I'm a chugger. So I was like, let me just get this coffee over with because I don't want to keep doing the mask on, the mask off because that's more hands touching my face in a way. I was kind of like trying to be smart about it. And Foxwoods, they got people running around. They got me because I had it down between sips, and I was like, well, I'm trying to finish this thing. I needed to come up for some air, and they were right there watching me.
Yeah, Foxwoods has been very good about watching people and taking care of that kind of thing. One time, I went to Foxwoods with Joe Frieda, and we concentrated on Pai Gow. And at the table, I was reminded that I couldn't really discuss my cards, my hand, until all the cards were done. And Fred, who was an exceptional pit boss, man, he was just great. In a way, he came over and just mentioned, in a very nice way, explained that, the eye in the sky right now is not just, checking for cheating or whatever was playing on the table, but they're also checking for people following the rules because, hey, casinos are now getting fined for, technicalities that people not following the mask and all that stuff. So they've got to really make sure that their guests are doing what they're supposed to as well.
And it's got to be tough because you figure I've only gone a handful of times since this all happened, and we'll get into that. But before that, I was like, we're like wild animals out there running from table to table, grabbing this, all the things I must have touched, all the germs I must have put all over myself all those years on the escalator, the door handle. I wash my hand in the bathroom, but you're talking now. We got the Purell dispensers foaming everywhere. You got the wipes everywhere. It's like, who knows what sort of things I ingested over the past decade at the casino.
Oh, I don't even care what people think of the scents that I have, but I always have like one or two little those bottles of hand sanitizer by me, and I my hands are starting to get like sandpaper because I use it so much. But hey, it's just part of the deal now.
Yeah, no, that's how it is there. Before, I used to just pour a little scotch on my hand and wipe it around and figure the alcohol take care of it. Actually, that might work in a way if you think about it. Save them on sanitizer. But, we're getting into this. We're getting into Foxwoods here. You think we should just jump right into this trip report, Robin?
Yeah, I think
Let's do it. All right, trip report. Then we're going to go over some anytime gambling. Here we go.
Trip reports. Yeah.
All right, so Robin, I got in the car. I've been biting my nails anyway because I've missed the casino. It's my love, my passion. So this year, the COVID, obviously, the health, there's all sorts of things to be worried about. But there is also this little piece of my heart missing from not being able to go up to the casino, do the comp game, get some free dinners. So I finally was able to, after this summer, work myself into it. I started doing Saturday and Sunday mornings very early. I was going on, and for those of you who don't know Foxwoods, I'm sure your local casino, I know Caesars does this, they have those tier credit and point multiplier days. So, you know me, I'm a tier credit multiplier guy. So I was starting to make my early morning trips around the tier credit multiplier. So just, a couple months ago, I don't even remember the exact date, just recently though, so I actually remember it still. I saw that there was a tier credit multiplier going on, and I was like, I'm going to go up that morning, have a good time, and then I was on the website, and I said, well, let me see what the rooms are like, and I noticed they had there was comp rooms open at the casino, and I said, well, gee, this is for the day before. A lot of times, the comp rooms have dried up when I go on, and you got to, especially depending on the type of casino, they're at lower capacity. It's not as easy to get the comp room sometimes, depending on how desperate they are. So I said, I'm going to sit back. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be, I'm going to look, and if there's a room that night, because I think the tier credit starts at 6 a.m., so I was getting there, a day early like a maniac, so I didn't have to avoid the commute in the morning, Robin. I wanted to wake up at 6 a.m. and be at the casino floor, not wake up at 5 and drive there.
Yeah, well, that's how I did the same thing concerning the multiplier, and my wife and I, when we finally were feeling like we could go there without losing our life, we decided to go at 6 o'clock on Triple Points Day. And getting a room like you did is really smart, especially if it's like the status mayhem at Mohegan Sun. So I did early morning, but I love early morning anyways, man. The air is crisp inside. It's even crisper now with no smoking. I feel like I have the whole casino to myself. So, but tell me something. As you were coming up and approaching southeastern Connecticut, you have the family in your car. And as you get closer, did you have trouble kind of like listening and focusing on what the family was doing? Because all you could think of was, I'm almost there, I'm almost there.
Not listening to my family's the story of my life, basically, but on the way to well, you know what it was, too, is that, I was nervous myself because basically, let me rewind to how we even made the decision, because it was a big decision, to pack up. I'm going to say I had a baby. I didn't really do much. I was in the room. My wife had the baby, but we got a lovely little baby boy, beautiful. He has blue eyes, so it's unbelievable. I should have named him Sinatra or something, because he's got these beautiful blue eyes. A little angel, but you're nervous taking him up there. So I did a couple of scouting trips beforehand. Like I told you, I was going up early morning, and you met my mother probably at one of the Gamapaloozas. So we would go up together. Amanda would stay, with the baby. Poor her, because, she loves the casino as much as I do these days. But we scouted it out, and, going up on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, this is going to sound crazy, but I really felt safe at Foxwoods. I have a little bit of an HVAC background, so knowing how the casino HVAC set up, where it was meant for smoking, it's 100% outside air. For me, I felt safe HVAC wise. Like, I wasn't concerned that I'm going to be sitting in stagnant air. But walking in, I walk into Foxwoods on a Sunday morning. They got in the temp check. So you got a fever, you're not coming in. Forget about it. So that's the first thing they got. Then they got the hand sanitizers everywhere. They got disinfectant wipes everywhere. And with half the machines off on a Sunday morning, it's almost like a ghost town, because there's a lesser volume of people anyway. But it was almost like you were saying, you have the place to yourself, Robin.
It is a ghost town, but you know what? I'll take it anytime. If I can get up from a machine and just go to the next one that I really want, that's the best. So you won't see me there in the next year or so on a Saturday night or a Friday night, but a Monday morning, a Tuesday morning, oh yeah, it's awesome.
That's my witching hour too these days. So we ended up making the decision to go. I saw the room, so I said, let me research Foxwoods and just see what their precautions are for staying overnight. And at the time, and this is what their website said, so I'm not their booking agent. Maybe they're fibbing on the website, but it said their hotels they're only doing 25% capacity. So I'm saying, okay, let me look. Foxwoods has 4 hotels, but the 2 Trees isn't open, so it has the 3 different hotels on site: the Cedar, the Pequot, and the Fox Tower. So they had rooms in all of them. So I had the pick of the litter there. So I'm saying, all right. So we have the Foxwoods Resort has 3 hotels. All of them are only at 25% capacity, and all of them still have complimentary rooms on the night I was going up prior to this tier credit. So, multiplier. So, I'm saying, as a calculated risk, admittedly, very low volume of people, this might be the time to make the gamble. And it was a weeknight. It wasn't like a Saturday night or anything either way. So, we made the decision to go. Now, Robin, you have some experience at Foxwoods. Do you have a tower you prefer? Because this was a tough part for me. I had to choose the tower. I want to see if you could guess which tower I chose. We'll see if you could guess the tower.
Okay, so did you stay on a Sunday night, you said?
It was not a Friday or Saturday. We'll leave the night an actual mystery. I don't know. Who knows what time?
Okay.
Everything's private now.
So I think Fox Tower is only open on the weekends, so that brings it down to 2 possible. So I'd say Grand Pequot.
Very close. If it was normal times, I would have done Pequot. Pequot is my favorite hotel at Foxwoods. It's centrally located. I love the rooms. I love the little the back elevators they have too. Or if you stay on the right, if you get the right room, you could take the elevator right down to the high limit Paigow room. So normally, yes, but I went Cedar, Robin, due to the smaller hotel capacity, because I forget how many floors are at the Pequot, but room-wise, Cedar's smaller. I figured, safer for the family, a little more quiet maybe. Whether or not it panned out like that, we'll get into it. So we roll up.
But that's all good consideration, though. I think I stayed there once quite a while ago, but when Grand Pequot had their renovations, I've stayed there ever since. So
the Pequot is the most beautiful, I gotta say. The Cedar's nice. Don't get me wrong. And the Cedar went, especially now, because that was the first thing I noticed. So you pull in. We'll get to this trip report here. You start pulling in. No valet. I missed the valet. I mean, I get it why they don't have the valet, but when you haven't been there in a long time, you normally are. I know when I do hotel, I always take the valet. So that was my first change. Was all right. I got to make sure I'm in the right garage for the freaking Cedar Casino because I don't normally park in the Cedar garage. So that was part of the battle, was getting me to the right casino. So we get in there. One rule of thumb, though, that got us. I thought I was trapped in the elevator, Robin. I almost called 911. I almost picked the phone up, hit the fire button. You know what Foxwoods did? This was smart, but they should have had a sign for me. And this is my only little gripe I'm going to have because I had a great time. They turned the lobby button off because they want you to go in on the main floor of the casino because they have the temp checks. So they don't allow you to go straight to the lobby from the garage, at least at the Cedar Casino. So we were in the elevator. I pushed the button, Robin. We're going nowhere. I'm pushing the lobby button. Nothing's happening. So I'm in there with the family. And side note, my mother came up separately. It was me, the wife, and the baby in the car. My mother came up separately, but she had her own comp room. So we were like, let's check in together. We'll get adjoining rooms, So then if me and Amanda go down, she could go watch the baby. Me and her go down. We got the 2 rooms, We could have I don't want to say a detox room, but like a decontamination room, to take all the clothes off if we feel like we're contaminated. So we really did it up, real hazmat style there. So we get to the hotel. They got their little windows up. And one thing I had to say, I made a joke to the lady because they have like the plexiglass up. And I'm not kidding you. The person in front of me, that not only did they pull their mask down, they pulled their mask down and were like sticking their head underneath where they have the hole in the plexiglass to like slide the keys out, or like, here, take your car, talking to the lady through the thing. So when I went up, when it was our turn to go up, I was like, I got to tell you, I was like, they invest in all sort of stuff here. They should have invested in like another 2 inches of plexiglass for you. And she was like, you know what? You don't know how many people actually do that, she said. She was like, you don't know how many people I got to shoo away. They stick their face underneath the hole in the plexiglass like I can't see them. And it was like, and I witnessed it with my own 2 eyes. I was like, look at this guy up here. He's got his, actually, like asking about his room or something. It was like, that's what the glass is for, buddy. So anyway, we had a nice laugh. The lady was, funny. She shooed the guy away, but we had a nice laugh. So we got into the room. First thing, they got the little sticker on the door to make you feel better, like the room was just cleaned. They got the clean room sticker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So rooms felt clean, felt beautiful. As always, I've only had a couple. I never really had any bad times at Foxwoods, but everything was beautiful room wise. So first things first, I had to go gamble. You know what I mean? We haven't been there in so long. I had to get down there, and my first impressions of the gaming floor, the plexiglass. First impression was I liked the plexiglass on all the games, to be honest with you. Pie Guy we'll get into. Craps, though, I kind of liked. Here's the pro and con of the plexi. I like the plexi at the craps because gone are the days of people sneaking up and bumping you and creeping in and trying to get their bets in or fit too many people on the table. That's over with now. The plexiglass is the police of that now, because if they see 2 guys in one little shell, they're going to sound the red alarm on you. But one thing that I didn't like, Robin, I don't know if you played craps with the plexiglass yet. It ruined my arc on the throw here. You got to reach the arm under, get the dice, and I, when we play, I like doing the high arc. I like throwing the arc so high the boxman has to yell at me because I'm throwing them too high. I couldn't throw for anything. I was like hitting the chips. They weren't getting down there. I'm like fastballing them because my arm motion was totally blocked. So my one negative on the plexiglass craps table. How was your feeling on the plexiglass of the casino tables?
I haven't played craps, but I do know that every time I played Pai Gow and I wore a hat, every time I turned around to say hello to the person next to me or something, the hat hit the plexiglass. It came off. I had to, try to get it back on me. And then a couple of times I would lean forward a little bit too quickly and would bang my nose on the plexiglass that way. So it's really something you got to get used to. But I feel more comfortable with it. I'm with you, and I can see, that plexiglass on the craps table. The days of, people trying to edge in. So, and then you have to kind of like protect your chips and stuff. Yeah, maybe those days are over for a while because, man, I don't know how many times you just hold your chips, making sure that no one's hands are getting a little frisky on your chips. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and for me with the wife, it's nice because we got a little couple's cubicle there. we each we could stay in the cubicle together because we're sharing the dice. So it's a kind of nice, a little more romantic actually at the craps table.
Oh, yes. Well, there you go. That's why you really like it. I get it. Yeah.
And we'll get into the pie gow, but I was getting comfortable. It was like I was a front row at a hockey game, banging on the glass, pie gow, banging the glass, and they were good. All the dealers were great. So we went down, Robin. As you know, I play it all. So I did. Me and my mom, we do, have a guilty pleasure. We play some slots, and boy, did we have some fun. We actually, you figure, obviously, mathematically, we don't know what the slot machines are set at. You can only imagine that they're going to be very tight because the casino is going to need to hold as much money as possible these days. But I actually had a good time. I didn't get crushed too bad on the slots. I had some fun. They had a couple of new slots. I do have one complaint though. At the Cedar Casino, I was going on those Sunday mornings. They had this new Jurassic Park machine there in the high limit. It was only a $4 maximum bet, but it was in the high limit room for some reason. But I was having a blast. I was going up just to play the machine. I rarely ever fall in love with machines where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go play this one. They got rid of it. I get up there, I check in, I go to play. It's gone, Robin.
Ooh.
So I went to ask the lady. She didn't even care. The lady in the high limit, she had no idea what I was talking about. I couldn't believe it.
Well, maybe it was high limit for the players and not necessarily a high limit for the casino. Maybe it was just paying out a little bit too much.
Well, that's what I'm thinking because I had a $1,000 progressive on there. I had a $500 progressive. I was going and I mean, not that you could say, oh, I beat that slot machine, but weirdly, I was walking away doing pretty well on that slot machine every trip somehow.
I've played slots at Foxwoods too of late. And I thought they had a lot of new exciting machines, some of the newest ones that are out. And I felt pretty comfortable in terms of, they've got quite a bit of space in between, and it was a comfortable thing. And the new machines are really great. I played one machine there that was a new Price is Right machine, I think, and it was a $1 machine, but it was best to play $5 and up on that. And I stayed on there. Gosh, I must have been on there for a half hour, going up between like 300, 500, 300, 500. A lot of fun. So I enjoy all that spatial, that space, the big space of all these casinos with so many places to go to with your slot machines. And I mean, it's not bad. I don't mind the 25% capacity whatsoever.
No, not at all. And is this the Price is Right machine on the Great Cedar floor? Like it's the bank of the three of them, and they got the big lever with the big giant lever. That Price is Right machine.
That's the one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, admittedly I did get crushed on that at the end of my trip, but getting the bonus in that is pretty fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
So another one I love also. Oh, look at this. We're two old ladies swapping hot slot machine tips here on the show tonight. So overall, slot machine wise, though, I had to say I felt comfortable with the cleanliness because they have hand sanitizer, automatic hand sanitizer, foaming machines everywhere. So if you feel like you want to get your hands done, you don't have to walk far to get them done. And they also had sanitizing wipes you could pull out to wipe your machine down. You can wipe your phone down. I honestly didn't I thought they were for your hands. I was wiping my hands with them. I'm sure it's too strong for the hands, but I was covering myself in disinfectant, and it was everywhere at Foxwoods on every gaming floor I was. So I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up for check-in safety. I felt great at check-in. My room felt clean, and I'm going to give them 2 thumbs up for, slot cleaning and just the way the floor was made up. For the most part, every other machine was off. There were some areas where, not every other machine was off. Maybe there's some sort of calculation between like the machines that are on the diagonal to each other. They leave some of them on, but overall, other than at the prime times, like after noon, it starts to fill up. Maybe you get a little bit, okay, let me get out of here if you're nervous. But when I was playing late night and early morning, I hate to say it, I felt more comfortable than when I go to the grocery store almost.
I would give them 2 thumbs up too. I think they're doing a great job with a situation that is just, tough to deal with. And I think they're doing the best they can.
And they're doing an okay job. We'll see. And that was the other thing I got to, not for nothing. I'm sitting here. Me and my wife, we've been biting our nails, pacing. My hair's getting grayer. It's falling out. I'm worried about COVID. I went to the casino. Everyone there other than me was high risk, Robin. People in the wheelchairs, oxygen are still going. There's people 110 years old that are still there. And I'm shaking in my boots here. I mean, I haven't read about any big outbreaks at these casinos yet. So, I mean, maybe there's something to the HVAC and the cleanliness of what's going on where, you know, they haven't had any big outbreaks at least our Connecticut casinos.
Right. And you know what? And I'm not an anti-smoking person because I've played in bands for 50 years and I'm not, it's cool. You know, if you're a smoker, it's fine. But I have to say that without smoking in the casinos, that like freshens everything up. Not just the air. It's just you don't see the ash on the machines. And I think it could be that the casino of the future, you know, no non-smoking. I think you're going to find a lot more casinos moving to that particular direction.
And you might be onto something there because even me, I'm not I mean, this is going to sound weird, like, I'm not a habitual cigarette smoker, but for me, I honestly will only smoke cigarettes if I'm half in the bag at the casino. That's really it. Like, if I'm up late at the craps table and the guy near me smoking, sometimes I'll flip him a chip for a cigarette, you know, or that's really the only time I smoke is at the casino, and I didn't really miss it. I got to say, I felt better not having the option to really go, you know, John Belushi on the whole thing and just start drinking my scotch and having cigarettes hanging out of the mouth and stumbling around. I would have said, I like people's right to smoke, but now that I'm kind of used to not having the smoke around me and not being tempted to smoke when I'm having some cocktails, I could live with it. And as a guy who doesn't hate cigar smoke, I know a lot of people who hate the smell of cigars, so they must be loving the non-smoking. And maybe what we're going to see is, instead of having, Foxwoods has their one non-smoking floor, maybe we're going to see they have their one smoking floor. And that's where all the smokers go, and all the main floors are non-smoking. Maybe we're going to see that type of pivot where the smoking floor is the hard-to-find floor.
Maybe. Just two things. I do miss the chance to be able to take out a stogie and smoke it with your buddy while you're playing. I don't know if you were ever gone to Las Vegas about 15 or 20 years ago. What am I saying? You're such a young kid anyways. But they used to have these smoking rooms in the middle of the airport. And I can't imagine going into these like huge plexiglass rooms in the middle of the walkway, because that was the only place you could play slots if you were a smoker and smoke at the same time. And boy, if they start making, rooms just for smoking, I sure hope for the smokers' sake that they've got that, really set up for good ventilation and good health for anyone who's playing in there.
I mean, you would hope so. I mean, it's obviously going to probably depend on when the casino was built, based on what their HVAC bones are going to be. But for us, we're lucky up in New England in the sense that most of our casinos are fairly new, and most of them were built for smoking. So, for non-smoking, their HVAC's going to run really primo because they're not exhausting, packs and packs of cigarette smoke with every air change. And honestly, as a non-smoking bystander, it seems like smoking at the casino has died down naturally on its own over the past 10 years. There were times on a Saturday night you'd be at the craps table and it'd be 50% of the people are smoking. Where now it's almost like even when there was smoking before COVID, that one or two guys that were smoking the cigarette, they'd kind of hold it off the table a little bit, keep it out of your face, where the social norms have changed on their own, and this COVID pretty much, I guess pun intended, kicked smoking right in the butt.
Well, I think people have become a lot more aware of being considerate when they're smoking, and also those of us who don't smoke, well, considerate of those who have that particular interest in smoking. So, people have kind of loosened up, I think, on that, and all for the better. Hey, I was just wondering, I can't wait to hear what you guys did for dining and breakfast and stuff like that.
Well,
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
We'll jump into the dining, and then I'll get into some of my up and downs at the tables here. But dining wise, we came up in an evening, so we checked in, and we were there for dinner. So what we did is, me and Amanda really haven't been out together, out to eat, since prior to COVID, because she was pregnant with the baby. We had an infant. We were, don't get me wrong. I'm getting takeout. I'm getting things delivered. I'm still, high on the hog over here, eating up all, all sorts of great food. Don't get me wrong. But we haven't sat down and had a cocktail at a bar what are we talking, pre-COVID, and then she was pregnant, so you're talking probably a year. It's been a long time since me and her, that was one of our pastimes, was getting bacala and having some appetizers at the bar. So we ended up, we surveyed the area. In Foxwoods, they have a bunch of different dining options open, and we ended up going to Guy Fieri's on the Pequot floor, and there was a couple of reasons for that. One of them is I love, we were getting takeout because my mother was in the room with the baby, which was part of our grand master plan of the adjoining rooms. So we were getting takeout for her because she was going to eat in the room. And we said, we'll get the takeout. We'll have a cocktail at the bar, and we'll, we could eat our entrees in the room also. We'll just split an appetizer. We're trying to be a little bit responsible here. And so we walked in. The guys, I walked in, sat at the bar like normal. They had partitions around the different, they had two seats at the bar and 3 seats at the bar, so you could have different party sizes. They had partitions between the tables. So we sit down, we're waiting for our menu or whatever. All of a sudden, Robin, I get a tap on my shoulder. It's the hostess. What do you guys got to come back. You can't seat yourselves anymore. You got to come back. So this is me being a new novice to the COVID world. We had to actually sign in. So this has actually impressed me. Safety-wise. Now, we're going to get into some gambling, so everyone there waiting for some gambling, bite the nails a little longer. But safety-wise, they took my name, they took my phone number for contact tracing, and they put us in the computer, and they sat us down where we sat originally because we already, tainted the area with our breathing. But they took our information. They're like, look, we're doing this. This is for the contact tracing, so if we have an outbreak here or somebody has it here, we will send you an email or a text that, maybe you should get checked, let you know what happens. So I was, honestly, for me, going into a casino, where usually there are no rules, to walk into a bar and have them, take my information for contact tracing because we're sitting at the bar and eating, to me it felt like, and maybe it's the way the laws are or whatever phases, but for, it felt above and beyond to me. And maybe it's a Guy Fieri policy because it's owned, it's not a Foxwoods owned, or a Foxwoods owned restaurant and bar area, but I felt unusually safe.
I think that's really impressive. I really do. That's I think a lot of places are going towards the wanting to trace where people have been and things like that, and that's very impressive. I'm glad to hear about that.
I was honestly almost taken back with how how responsible it was in a way, because they want to stay open too. They don't want an outbreak. You know what I mean? They need to make their money, so they're like, you know what? We'll go out the whole 10 yards here and make sure everyone's safe. And if something goes wrong, we'll let you know. So we sat down, and in classic mistake, my eyes are bigger than my stomach sometimes, which if you see me, you wouldn't believe it. But sometimes my eyes are bigger than my stomach. So we sat down. We got a couple cocktails. We ordered, it's not going to sound as luxurious as it felt at the time, but we got the garbage can nacho, trash can nacho. Hey, what are you going to do, Robin? Yeah. They got to pull it up. I couldn't help myself. And you know what? To try to be a little more cautious here, I ate my nachos with a fork and knife. How do you like that? I ate my nachos with a fork and knife. I'm sitting here cutting up the garbage can nachos with my fork and knife. And, of course, my big mistake was I ordered an entree, and then they had some special that Amanda was like, oh, this looks interesting. I was like, order it. We'll eat it in the room. Needless to say, the nacho was enough for both of us. We didn't end up eating. We barely ate any of our food we ordered. We took it home with us. But food quality was great. I mean, it's Guy Fieri's. What do you expect? They have a nice baseline of the food's good. I got they have a brisket Reuben. I got that to the room. It was so good. My mother ate half my entree after she finished her salad we got her. She was on a diet. Oh, just get me the salad. Get me a salad. I come back after we played. Half the sandwich is gone. She's like, oh, the Reuben smelled too good. She ate half the Reuben on me.
Oh, you can't go to the casino and have a salad. You just
she knew it
too.
She just wanted to say she was on the diet, I think, because we had our cocktails when we went down to play the slots. And honestly, who is luckier than me? So the way this trip was made up, I told you it was the wife, the baby, and my mother. So I got to take turns. Sometimes I go down to the gambling floor with my mother. We play some slots, and then sometimes I go down with Amanda and we play some slots. We play some craps. We walk around. And we'll get into some gambling fun here. So
sure.
We got down there, Robin. We're playing. My mom are playing the slots. We're up. We're down. And my personal gambling preference is I've been over the penny slots lately. I don't want to sound too bougie or sound too a little snobby here, but I've been liking the $5 lines. You know, if 9 line's a little bit, I don't want to do the 9 line. But I've been enjoying the $5 lines. You know, I find myself when I've been playing the penny slots, you know, I get the drain. I don't want a 50-cent win anymore. I'd rather win nothing and save it up for one big win. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm at. So we were playing. We had some fun bonus rounds up and down, but we ended up down a little bit, down a few $100, Robin. So we were walking around, and I said, you know what, Ma? One of the people that really got me into the casino was my grandfather. Her father. We used to go to Atlantic City together, and that was as a kid. I never went to Disney World. I never went and saw the Mount Rushmore. We never went anywhere. The only place I went on vacation was to Atlantic City Boardwalk to go to the casino and the arcades. So she was into it. She was like, you know what? Let's do some roulette, you know? And he was born on October 10th. So he's born 10/10. So, you know, I got to play 10 at the roulette table, Robin, right?
Of course. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. We were at the roulette table, and actually I got some pretty good tier credits for this one. But we were at the roulette table, and I believe the limit was only $10, luckily. And we'll get into the other limits on the other tables because they have changed a little bit. But the limit was only like, I think $10 or $15. So I could have played singles on the inside. But, you know, this is probably one of the rules we're going to go over when we get into the do's and don'ts here in a little bit. But, you know, I was playing nickels because I haven't played in so long, and the guy said nickels, and I said, you know what, let's just do the nickels. Either we're going to win or lose and go back to the room, you know what I mean? Robin, wouldn't you know it, what comes out? Bang! We hit a 10, like right off the rip.
Oh,
so we're up. Suddenly you're saying 35 to 1 on the $5 bet. We're starting to sit pretty here. We almost made our money back that we lost on the slot machines already in one fell swoop here. So we played a little more, and you know, another number came out. So we ended up leaving the table up at the roulette table, but even on our slot losses. So at this point, we're like, all right, switch. Let's go to the room. We'll get Amanda. We'll bring her down to this floor, and my mom can sit with the baby. Because, you know, I see the baby all the time. I don't need to see the baby at the casino, even though, Robin, the baby slept better at the casino than he does at home. It was almost like he knew what was going on. He didn't cry once.
Did Sonny play slots, or did he prefer table games?
Well, he preferred. Actually, what we did was we took the pillow. We bought our own sheet. So we brought our own sheet for the baby. So we put the sheet over the bed, and we used the pillows to make like a little play area for him on the bed, so he could play in the bed and watch. We brought some toys, and he played with his little toys. He rolled around the bed. And then this is going to sound cliche. He slept like a baby. We brought the little baby crib thing you fold up and bring. We put him in there. He slept better in there than he does at home. At home, he spits his pacifier out. He wants a little help. He wants some TLC. At the casino, we put him down. He was out cold. Slept till morning. We were like, is he okay? I had to wake. It was like the sun was going up. I was like, let me go check on him. He didn't wake up once tonight. So the baby, he likes the Cedar Hotel, I think. It might have been just the new room. He was kind of into, you know, the new scenery maybe that got him all tired. He was flipping around the bed trying to, you know, grab the lamp, grab the headboard. What's going on over here? Is that a coffee maker? He was having a blast.
That's great. That's great. So what did you and Amanda play when you finally got downstairs?
So me and Amanda go down, and we did. This is going to sound cliche because we did our slots, because the slots are wide open. It's something we could play together. She could sit, I'll stand, I could stand, she could sit. However we want to do it, and this is another top secret thing. I kind of know, you know, this is going to sound sick actually, but I know where the beverage doors are on the different casinos on the Foxwoods floor. So if I'm looking for that cocktail, I know kind of where to position myself so I could catch somebody going back to the bar area in the back to make the drinks. Maybe they got extra stuff on the tray. Maybe they're coming out. I give them the signal so they know to come get to me. So we play the slots by the beverage doors, Robin.
You don't know how smart that is. I mean, that really is the way. You know, people sometimes complain, no service. You know, no one came up. Well, if you go where the drink staff comes out of, you'll get drinks. Yeah, that's very smart. I think you should put that as a one of the dues. We should add that as one of the dues for our 15 casino do's or don'ts coming up.
And it took research because they don't label those doors. You got to really stalk the beverage ladies to figure out where they're coming from sometimes.
Yep.
And another do that's probably in your dues. Every time I get the beverage now, I'm over tipping because I know their tips have got to be crushed by the lack of business. Because, I mean, even though I'm sure when it was filled up, half the jamokes weren't tipping the poor beverage people anyway. But, I'm getting 2 drinks. I'm gonna tip $5. I might, put in a backup drink for them to come back out with. Say, all right, give me a scotch on your, think about me next time you come out with another scotch. But I'm over tipping also to remind them. I might want to go see where this guy is because at least he's, I'm getting something for giving these beverages to this poor guy.
Yeah, you're right, and they are hurting, man. I mean, they're not paid that well by the casino. They rely on those tips, and I agree. At this point in time, people are probably keeping their money close to their vest and not not tipping like they used to. So,
and I could see it because a lot of people, luckily or unluckily, I'm essential, so I didn't face a lot of which is actually good because I got I got a lot of money to lose when I went up there, but I went up there with I've been saving money on I've been saving this is going to sound sick. I don't want to sound sick here, but I know I love the casino, so I've been squirreling my money away anyway, saying when I go back, I'm going to have my own little side gambling money, and we're going to keep it separate, which is realistically the smart thing to do at any time in your life.
Yeah, and also while you're saving up, then you're getting ready for a bigger play when you actually go, which is what the casino's looking for anyway. So, it's a win-win. I think COVID has taught us that maybe, we don't need to go to the casino once a week. And I also did the same thing. I had to save my money up and saved. My first play was a bigger than normal one. So, hey, there are some advantages to what's going on in the casinos right now with this.
And that really is the greatest comp advice that I said it, for years on this show, and I didn't always live by it, where, maybe, and this is I'm going to give credit to Travel Zork and Michael Traeger, because there were times I would go up to Mohegan, play with Michael, have a good time. And that was something he always lived by, is he said, you know what, instead of going to the casino 4 times a month with this much money, go once a month. Or instead of going to the casino 8 times in 2 months with this money, go once every 2 months. And what it does is you're still playing, you still stand to lose the same amount, you still stand to win the same amount. Maybe your time's a little different, but on the casino, everything's computerized. And they're going to say this person is worth more dollar for dollar, minute by minute, than a guy who's coming up for, like, hypothetically, let's say, and this is, not for everybody, but let's say you have $1,000 a month you spend at the casino, and that's your expendable income. If you go in intervals of $250 a week, you look like a $250 a week player. You're playing at a $5 craps table. But if you go up every 2 months and you have $2,000, which, is a lot, but if you go up at $2,000 for your one trip every 2 months, suddenly they say, wait a minute, this guy's turning over thousands of dollars at a pie-gow table or a craps table. Maybe we should offer him the free rooms. Maybe we should offer him the extra comps or him the little perk. And
that's so true. And also, with the amount of time that you don't spend there, then you might get a little bit more attention at the, let's get this guy here more. So your comps might rise just because of that as well.
Play hard to get with them, like the old Dayton days. You don't want to text her back right after the date. Pretend, give it a few days. How did you have a good time? Wait for her to respond. That's you got to play hard to get these days. Don't judge me. You're going to hear the cork. I'm going to do one. I'm having so much fun talking about the casino, Robin. I'm going to do one more little scotch here. I was only going to do one tonight, but I missed the casino. I missed hanging out. I missed Gamblepalooza this year. I got to say, when things get back to normal, we're due for a ripper at one of these Connecticut casinos. Yeah.
And I was probably at the casino when you were at the casino, either Mohegan Sun or Foxwoods. It's too bad that I didn't know. I could have checked it out.
Well, it's funny too, because it's like you don't even think about messaging to meet up with people because you can't. You can barely talk to anyone. You got to stay away from. Because we played craps together. Oh my, maybe I shouldn't have had the second scotch. We played craps together. Me, I'm high fiving, cartwheeling. We're passing the cigarettes around, flipping chips to each other. It's like it's a different beast. So let's move into the table game gambling here a little bit. So craps wise, I don't know about your experience, but I've been the few times I have been to Foxwoods, a handful of times, we're looking at $15 minimum craps tables all day, every day. I was there at 6 in the morning. They were $15. I was there at 1 in the morning. They were $15. The ones that were open, and it's not surprising because they have less people at the table. So clearly, to make the table profitable, they have to make each position a little bit more lucrative for themselves. So, like for me, if there was a $10 craps table open, why would I go to the $15 table? Where now it's like, let me just go to the $15 table. It's better than the $25 table. So limits are up all around.
Yeah, I'm a nickel player when it comes to craps, and I could play 10, but 15 is out of my league. It could be years before I play craps again. But I did notice that at Foxwoods that it's 15 minimum was 15 all around.
It's tough. I mean, I played it, but it changes your betting strategy. You know, normally at a $5 table, you know, if I think Foxwoods is down to 5 times odds, but so I'm always doing pass line, 5 times odds. I'm playing come bets. I'm placing bets, hard ways. You know, I'm still letting it all hang out, you know, basically risking ruin quickly sometimes. But, you know, it really altered my play. You're talking I'm doing a $15 pass line. You know, I might start 1 or 2 times odds just to feel the table out. You know, I'm placing a 6 and or the 8 a little bit. You know, I'm still giving the dealer 2-way, hard ways, and, you know, putting the dealer on the pass line and stuff like I normally would. But it's not those, you know, I don't want to say it's not as fun, but it's not as we're getting wild here and I'm flinging nickels everywhere because, you know, $15 minimum. It adds up if you have a cold roller, you know, if you have a cold table, which we'll get into that in a little bit.
Well, I imagine if you have a full table, it's still if everyone's having a great time and there's only like 6 or 7 people there, I don't think that that's going to cause the ruckus that that we all know a craps table can. So I'm sure that it's, you know, the fun factor is a little bit less, but you know, hey, craps is craps. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't imagine maybe the no pass would be a good way to go on a high minimum is that, so that you don't really spend a lot on these odds and this hard way and blah blah blah. So
I 100%. I could see Tim from the Better Life in his little cubicle playing his little don't pass, having a ball, clapping to himself, texting his friends about how he's crushing the Italian guy who can't throw the dice at the other end of the table. I can picture it. So the don't pass is probably it's the easiest to play, but that was the other problem. I got to tell you, you know, I already know I need a little bit of glasses when it comes to seeing things far away. So sometimes I'm squinting to see where the dice are at the end of the table. You know what I mean? Normally I'm waiting for the dealer's call, but it turns out, Robin, I might be hard of hearing too, because with the plexiglass up, you got the plexiglass and the mask on. So if I'm doing like a 2-way, you know, you're saying 2-way hard 8. I'm screaming this at the top of my lungs. 2-way hard 8. Is the stick man hearing me? I'm trying to talk to my dealer next to me. That was the one thing I did learn. I think next time I go to the table, I'm going to try to get the cubicle next to the stick guy, because it seems like the easiest place to shoot the dice, the easiest place to get my bets in. Whereas I was at like kind of by the regular dealer. I was like maybe in like the 1 or 2 position if you're at the fire bet, you know what I mean? So I was like really toward the side. And I was having trouble even screaming my bets out. They were like, "What's this? What's going on?" I almost wanted to write a note and hold it up to the glass.
That's good advice, you know. Get next to the dealer so that you can, you know, when you blurt out, you know, through your mask, through the plexiglass, you have a higher chance of being understood at least.
That was one of my big takeaways. So anyway, me and Amanda played our slots. We got crushed, Robin. I'm telling you, me and my mom, we went up and down. We had a good time. Me and Amanda, I felt bad for her because, you know, she hasn't played in a while. She kept saying she was sorry, and I was like, you don't got to be sorry. I was like, unless you're in the back counting the money, don't be sorry. We're losing. She was feeling sorry, and you know, I was like, all right. So we got pretty much craned. We had a little bit of fun, but me and her at our slot run, it was nothing to write home about. So. You know what I got to do? I'm a wrestling guy. We went for the tag team wrestling. I tagged in my mom to come down with me to play, Robin. So we went back up to the room. My mom came back down. She was ready to rock and roll anyway. Baby was about to go to bed, you know, gave him his little bath. We brought a blow-up bath up there. I had to use my lung capacity to blow up the little mini bathtub we put in the real bathtub to give him his little bath. But it worked out perfect. So we went down, and my mom, I just got crushed in the slot. So I was like, Ma, maybe you go play some slots. I think I'm going to go play some Pai Gow because I haven't played yet. You know, this is my first time playing since the the pandemic. And when I was going early in the mornings, the Pai Gow wasn't open generally when I was there. I didn't check in the in the high limit room, but I was assuming it was closed reading online, and I know that the gaming area by that Noodles bar, I want to call it the Asian gaming area because it has the Asian games, but they might have a name for it over there. But I know it doesn't open all the time. It's not 24/7 like it used to be.
Right. It's the Rainmaker Casino, and they haven't had the tables open. It's just the slots that are in that area. So it's just 12 o'clock, I think, is when they open the high limit. And then they won't open up a third table, I think, until 3 o'clock on the weekend or something like that. So you're dealing with two tables. And what did you think about did you play in the high limit? Because
that is where I played. I played the high limit off the Pequot floor, and I got to tell you, with the craps, I found as a nitpicker, I found reasons to nitpick the plexiglass. You couldn't hear. I couldn't throw the dice. I'm playing for the higher limit. But in the high limit room at Foxwoods with the Pai-Gow, it was still $25. And instead of 6 people, it was 4 people. And honestly, I liked it. If they could sustain that with only 4 people at the table and they don't have to up the limit from $25, I love that. I have my own area, and me and the lady next to me, we were switching off on who gets to play 2 at a time. You know what I mean? She'd play 2 at a time. She'd get crushed. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, you mind if I play this spot? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Play it for a little bit. So we were having a fun time there. And I told you before, the one fun thing about in the high limit is the wait staff's very attentive when it comes to beverages. So I got my Fiji water. I got a cappuccino with the foam on top. I got the scotch. So I'm sitting here. I need like my own little side end table for all my drinks they gave me because I was so excited to have some drinks. And I mean, admittedly, I played a lot of fortune bonus. I know, to the mathematicians, it's a terrible thing to play, but, I already played slots. So for me, the fortune bonus, God forbid I got the straight flush. Normally you gotta win $1 million. To win $1 million, you gotta bet $1 million. With the fortune bonus, you just gotta bet $5 $1 million times, and you might win $1 million. And
what did you think of that other new bonus that they've got?
I didn't play the new bonus. I should have played the insurance because I'm telling you, I had some of the worst Pai-Gow hands, but the dealer was doing even worse. So I played I put in like 2 to 3 hours at the table and I was even, which is the beauty of Pai-Gow. Cocktails, right. And I was still had my leak with the fortune bonus and I was still pretty much even. But one thing I do have to say is this goes back to being a responsible gambler, which I swear to God, we're going to get into this quick. I'm going to finish my trip report up so we get into our 15 do's and don'ts. I'm really trailing on here. But so I'm about even at this Pai-Gow table in the high limit. So I say, all right, they're going to do the deck switch. I'm like, let me go, take a walk or whatever. Robin, I go back to this craps table. I'm telling you, the money I bought in at the Pai-Gow table and sat there for hours and walked away even after scratching and crawling, paying, my little commission and doing my little fortune bonus bet. I went to the craps table, lost my entire Pai-Gow bankroll literally before they finished shuffling. I went back to the table with like $100 left and they weren't even done shuffling yet. That's how fast I lost all my money at the craps table.
Wow. Yep.
But, the sad part is I enjoyed it.
You were lucky to find that $25 minimum. I've been there both times where the minimum was $50, and man, that's like I'm a quarter Pai-Gow player, but what the heck? And I lasted 4 hours on a $300 bankroll on betting $50 a hand. I mean, it was great. It was crazy, and I did play that bonus, which is it's a new bonus that for those of you who don't know, if you have a Pai-Gow hand, no ace, then you get to spin the bonus, and some of the bonus has some envy bets that go along with it, and there's like a $50,000 or $5,000 rather top bet. And it's kind of fun. It actually, and the first time I got a chance to spin, I think it was 5 times, which is beyond the expectancy. And then the second time, I didn't hit it at all. But you were lucky to hit that $25 minimum, man.
And it was a weeknight, so maybe that played into it. And now that you mentioned that bonus with the wheel spin, it must have been active at the table because I wasn't playing it. And then when I had a bunch of crappy hands in a row and the dealer made light of, oh yeah, if you played the bonus, you would have been spinning this wheel. And I was like, hey, of course I should have played my hands are going to be crappy bonus. Cause the whole time I was like, I should have got insurance. Normally, no matter what game you're at, insurance is a bad buy. And, but my hands were so bad, I was like, I'd be rich off just the insurance. If I were the dealer, everyone would have been slapping me 5 because I had Pai Gow. And get this, Robin. So this doesn't happen often. I had a Pai Gow hand. I think I had ace high, though, in this hand, so it wouldn't have been that bonus. But I had a Pai Gow, and I'm banging the glass like the hockey game. I'm not hard, but I'm going to do a little tap on my table here. I'm banging. I'm like, Pai Gow, trying to get the whole table revved up. And we were having admittedly, the whole table was great people. We were laughing, having a good time in our little cubicles. And wouldn't you know it, Robin, the dealer had a lower Pai Gow than I had. He had like a jack high Pai Gow. It was like it's stupid that's what I'm celebrating. That's how bad that's how uneventful it was. But I'm telling you, the dealer had a lower Pai Gow than I did. I could have did a cartwheel. If we could have slapped 5, I probably would have slapped 5 with everybody because we were all getting taken to the cleaners.
Yeah, didn't you say that you were doing a plexiglass high five, right?
Yes, we were doing the little plexiglass. I might have been obnoxious. I hope I wasn't obnoxious. I was tipping the dealer, so hopefully the dealer was happy. But, I was doing a little glass tap, the little hockey glass tap on Pai Gow, haunting him. Pai Gow, haunting him. And it worked. So, I'm not a scientist, but maybe that's why it happened. So, Robin, that's basically my trip report. I played a little Pai Gow. I had a blast. I loved the Pai Gow with the plexiglass. The high limit room was good. 25 I could live with. 50 you could probably sustain because I walked away even after all those hours. The craps, the limits are higher. I could complain about the being able to hear the dealer and the dealer being able to hear me. I could complain about my beautiful arc, my awesome Michael Jordan just do it arc I usually throw up there to hit the lights. I couldn't do that. So for me, craps was a little bit of a downgrade with the plexiglass. My slot experience, I enjoyed the slot experience. I didn't mind not having people crawling all over me, which may or may not be a product of less people being there, but also might be a product of half the machines are turned off and they're more conscious of packing people in, which, as a novice casino lover, it scares me because you're saying the less machines, the more money they got to make on the machines that are actually turned on. So it makes you say, I'm probably giving it back to him in the long run, but for the comfort and the fun of it, well, it wasn't so bad. And I did play a little video poker. I thought of you. I didn't think of you too much because I didn't play a good pay table, but played a little video poker. I'm sorry. It was a little Ultimate X, and I sat down to the Ultimate X, and I said, you know what? I'm just playing. I was like, I'm not even going to Google what I should do here. We'll play some Ultimate X. And, it was up and down, but the pay table might not have been so great.
I know that you and I are just talking and no one is really going to hear this. So, just between you and I do play the 9-5 Ultimate X as well, double bonus. So, it's not the best pay table, but, sometimes even I have to, break ranks just for the fun of it.
And well, you want to hear my new guilty pleasure too? I don't even want to admit this either. But when I do the video poker, I don't even like doing the one-hand video poker now. This is like a little gambling confession here. Now I like doing the 5-hand, the 10-hand, like a sicko. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, you know what I mean? Now when I sit down, the $1.25 at the bar top, I could do that because I'm getting the cocktail. But if I'm sitting at the video poker machine at the, on the floor and I'm waiting for the cocktail and I'm not sitting there to get the drink, mm-hmm. I almost feel compelled to do the 5 or the 10-hand all the time now. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been watching it online and it's like, just the sound effect of all the dinging from when you get a big hand, it's like the Pavlov dog. I get a little thirst for it.
Oh, I love the nickel games. Nickel 10-hand. Besides Ultimate, you've got Powerhouse Poker, and there are just some fun games. They're not gonna make you $1 million, but a couple times I've gotten a multiplier here or there on a nickel game, and I ended up with a hand pay. So you never know. But I agree with you. I think that's much more fun. But the money making is probably still in those single line games with decent pay tables.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure because and it's funny too because you go to let's just say you're at a quarter and it's $1.25 a hand, and then you go to a 5-hand. You're playing 5 hands at once. I could just go to a higher limit and play a higher limit on one hand and get basically the same effect. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's all about the sound effects. That's how pathetic I am these days. These days, I think it's the casino dinging I missed.
One thing I have to say that in the high limit, in the Pequot, Pequot casino.
So I'm picturing this now. Are you going to tell me about a good pay table?
Actually, I'm gonna say a little bit of a beware here. Oh. In the high limit, they have 9-6 jacks or better. They have great pay tables, but you cannot earn anything on those machines. Whatever you make, you're making on sheer money in, money out. No tier status, no points for dollar points or whatever they call them. They're just plain 9-6 machines that don't make anything for you. So beware of those.
Wow. And so I mean, astute on their part to say, all right, they probably had high, because side story, I'm not going to name any names. I'm friends with, some video poker. I don't want to say high rollers, but video poker high rollers. And they would go and, they're playing hundreds of dollars a hand on these machines, and they were raking in the comps back, we're talking pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So, it could just be they are assessing the floor and they're saying, all right, where as a gaming floor are our leaks? And it's the comps we're giving to these people who are playing max bet on these video poker machines.
Right.
Because, he took me out. We went out to eat. We had a good time. They were definitely they definitely had comps going on some of these machines, but it could be a stark change. And actually, admittedly, I tried to play the same machine he showed me that he played on, but who knows if they changed the pay tables on that machine. I'm a fun gambler, Robin. I try to be a smart gambler, but it's too much. I can't be smart and have fun at the same time. I gotta just have some fun.
That's right. Sometimes the fun, is more important than the money. It's the way it is.
So overall, to wrap up this trip report, I got to give Foxwoods, 2 thumbs up for the safety. I felt safe there. I felt safer than when I go to the grocery store. I felt safe when I went in the mornings. I felt safe when I stayed there. I purposely avoided crowded times also, so I can't speak for a Saturday night, but I can speak for me being responsible early mornings, late nights, and weeknights. I felt very safe. I felt like, they had enough in place where what more can they do other than give you the nasal swab? You know what I mean? They had everything they could in place. And gaming-wise, I had a blast, enjoyed the pie gow. Slot machines were nice. I was able to get beverages. I do know where the beverage doors are, so that's part of it. But I felt like the service was great. The food was great at Guy Fieri's. I was impressed with their protocols. And overall, I give my stay 2 thumbs up. We're heading into more of a COVID peak again, so you'd be a little more paranoid. I went on a trip a little while ago, but overall, I left feeling like, you know what? If I caught it at Foxwoods, I'll be surprised, because everyday life, I felt more dangerous, pumping my gas and getting my lottery ticket at the, at the gas station than I do going to Foxwoods for the evening.
Yeah, I think our state, I think Massachusetts has been doing a great job too. I did make one trip to MGM Springfield, and it was as dead in the morning as the others, but it was clean. There were people walking around, staff making sure that everybody had their masks on. One lady was doing the sipping of her coffee, like you were talking about, and she didn't have her mask down without sipping for more than maybe 30 seconds, and a guy was on her saying, "Man, would you?" So they're taking it seriously, and they're trying to keep everybody healthy. And yeah, I think everybody in the New England casinos on a whole, I think they're doing a great job.
I completely agree. And one last side comedy story is, so we were at one of the we were at a slot machine. It was on one of the banks that is like a circular bank. It's on a straight line. So I was sitting there, me and my mother were playing together, and I was like, this it's like the security guy was stalking us. You know what I mean? I'm like, what's this guy following me for now? Not that I was doing anything underhanded, but it's like, I don't know. You never know when it looks like security's watching you. Robin, no joke, they go to walk up. I'm like, oh, here we go. The lady on the machine, like adjacent to us, her nose was hanging out of her mask. And this guy was like, hey, cover your nose, cover the nose. He's showing, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, they got the security here, and they're giving you mask lessons. They're so cautious about this.
Yep. And remember, the eye in the sky is watching, because it's hard enough for them to make any money at this point. They don't need any more fines, put on them. So yeah, they're watching, and it's good for them, but it's also good for us.
And I'm very curious to see because in MGM Springfield, they are a casino that's in Springfield, whereas the tribal casinos, technically they're on their own land and they have sovereignty. So the fact that at least the tribal casinos I've been to in Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods, especially Foxwoods, the fact that they, in my opinion, they really are going above and beyond to try and put things in place to make it safe. You know, I got to give them 2 thumbs up on the whole thing. Let's see. Oh, I got a sound effect. Let's see. Boom. That's a win for the Fox. Might as well use this mixer. So I invested in it, and I made 1 podcast in 2 years, so we're on a roll here today. Thank you for enjoying part 1 of this very special 2-part Thanksgiving feast Cousin Vito Casino podcast release. Part 2, we're going to sit down with Robin again, a continuation of this conversation, and we're finally going to get into the top 15 do's and don'ts for the recreational gambler for heading to the casino. But hopefully you enjoyed part 1 here, this very special Foxwoods COVID trip report. So sit back, relax, download the next one, and enjoy.